Hello, everyone. I am here to talk about one of my favorite subjects, fascia. I've been studying and training in fascia for over a decade, and it continuously amazes me. We are at the very forefront in our understanding of this incredible system. And our bodies don't recognize us as systems, but we're going to use that word anyway. So I'm here to tell you what fascia is and why you should care. Fascia, the first fascial council, this is telling you how new this understanding is. The first fascial council was in 2007. The reason why is because we did not have proper technology, or not proper technology. We didn't have advanced enough technology in our dissection tools to be able to understand what fascia really is. So imagine somebody getting surgery and there's a cut, of course, if it's internal. So the surgeon would cut, and the fascia is almost like if I had a rubber band and you came up and snipped the rubber band with scissors, it would bounce back. The reverb would be so fast that you would never really even know it was there if you weren't looking for it. So that's what was happening. Now we have these dissection tools, and not only dissection tools, we have these incredible small cameras that move through our bodies, and we can check out what the fascia is doing. There's an incredible, you can look this up on YouTube. There's a French doctor, I think his name's Gilberto or Toe or something like that. And he has videos of odysseys through the fascia, and it's gorgeous. So this is a really new area. And I'm finding that fascia ends up being many answers to many questions in our bodies. So I'm going to walk you through quickly just what fascia is. So I don't know if you've ever seen a picture of fascia, but here it is right here. This is your fascia. This right here, all this juiciness is called interstitial fluid. Interstitial fluid has been decided that it is our largest organ. Interstitial fluid, not our skin, interstitial fluid. So check out that fascia. It's really beautiful, and you can see, again, put a search in for fascia or put in French dermatologist fascia. You'll find this kind of odyssey as you move through the fascia. Now, fascia is connective tissue, and we have a lot of different types. We have fascia surrounding all of our organs, or our organs are made of fascia. We've got tendons and ligaments and all of this. What I'm particularly talking about is myo, skin, fascia, connective tissue, myofascia. So when I use the word fascia, understand that that's what I'm really speaking about, is the fascia, the myofascia. So going back to that view, our fascia can get very, let me click out of that. Our fascia can get very chaotic. So here is a picture here of aligned fascia, and here it is of really imbalanced and misaligned fascia. So there's a lot of implications to this that we need to understand. What this is doing is that we need a lot of different techniques. This is not, there's no grain to go with here. There's not like wood grain or, like a material or something like that. We have to do a lot of different techniques in order to really start to smooth the fascia out. So what happens here is the fascia is overlapped. All of our cells in this area are essentially starving. They need oxygen, they need nutrients, they need to be cleaned. And this translates to discomfort in our bodies. So when our fascia looks like this in an area, first of all, I like to call that frozen. Second of all, what that does is multiple things. It's actually cutting off, to an extent, because you're alive and you're here, blood flow, lymph flow, which is incredibly important. We want the lymph out before we can get the fresh oxygenated nutrients in. So that is a picture of really aligned fascia, which is what we start to do together and what I've done in my own body. And it's a spiral. It will continue the rest of my life. And we smooth it out, ironing it out, so to speak. Now, the next thing that I want to show you here is what fascia looks like in our skin. So here is a model. Let me get it up. Here is a model of our skin. So here's the epidermis layer, epidural layer, whatever. No, epidural's not right. Epidermis layer. And then we've got the superficial fascia here, if you see this right here. So sometimes this superficial fascia is so frozen. I call this the permafrost because it's so frozen that we're actually numb in that area. Take our shins, for example. Take our maybe our ankles, for example, or our IT bands. Most of us are so frozen in our legs that a lot of our cause sites are actually in these areas. So we actually have to work in the first place to melt this superficial fascia. Second of all, we move into the deep fascia here. Now, you're going to start to notice fascial adhesions. So there's a lot of sensation involved, and we train ourselves not only into this sensation, we train ourselves to become explorers and excavators of that sensation. Now, look at the muscle here. There's actually fascial bundles in the muscle itself, and which I will show you now. Let me find it. Back to my desktop. Here they are. Okay, so these muscle fibers are like a sheaf of wheat that has just perhaps been threshed. So you wrap the cords around the sheaf of wheat in order to keep it together, and then that's what you're seeing on the outside. But look at this. Look at each individual one. Each individual little muscle bundle is surrounded by fascia. Now, oh my gosh, get ready to have your mind blown. Look, blood vessels, lymph flow. If you have multiple layers, you've got the superficial layer of fascia, you got the deep layer of fascia, and now you have fascia on muscle fibers. If everything is that tight, then you are cutting off your natural healing mechanism, which is simple. It's toxins out through the lymph system and fresh oxygenated nutrients in through the vascular system. Super simple. And it's all cut off. And this is why we take a long time healing in our legs and feet and ankles and knees as well. So this is a really profound understanding to have. Think about your fascia in a couple different terms. Think about your fascia as in water, which it is, because remember, interstitial fluid is our largest organ that we've discovered now. Think about your fascia as being frozen, that permafrost layer I was talking about. Think about your fascia as being frozen and then starting to melt. When your fascia melts, that's when your sensation comes. And you can work with these cause sites in your body. I could come to you and press on probably anywhere in your body, and I would find the spot because we are so laden with misalignments. Now, when we have discomfort in our bodies, Ida Rolf said this in a genius, without even understanding scientifically what the fascia is, she knew. It's never where you think it is. If your low back hurts, I guarantee you, I'm never starting with your low back. I'm starting with your ankles and your feet. If you have a headache, I'm going to start with your legs, right? So this is a really big concept to grasp because we're trained to go straight to the site of pain. The site of pain is just telling you there's something going on somewhere. It's not precise unless you've had an acute accident. It's not precise. And we all experience pain differently as well. So go back to that bundle here. Did I share my screen? Go back to this bundle here and look at that. Now, I've got a really great visual for this. So imagine a tree that's been choked out by weeds, by, let's say, vines. And I have a really cool picture of a tree that happened to. So this is a tree choked out by vines. Now, is it getting nutrients? Yes. Is it dying? Yes. Until, of course, the pressure got taken off. Now, of course, we're not wood. Even though that tree is going to heal itself, it's going to take a lot longer. We go way faster than this. So what we're doing is ironing out all the issues that we've had. And a lot of times, beautifully enough, we are going all the way back to the womb, how we laid in the womb. I was telling someone the other day that I'm sure my mom, she probably doesn't even remember, I'm sure my mom held my hand, left arm, and you know, I'm a little kid and she's holding my arm with her right hand. Of course she is. What else is she going to do? And so now I'm finding that I'm unwinding this pattern right here. I always have this left arm up because as a kid, that's what happened. Now, of course, it was to keep me safe, and I'm incredibly grateful. However, we are unwinding, that particular illustration was because we are unwinding from our early childhood, perhaps even into the womb. If your mother was a little smaller and her breath was shallow, you didn't have space to grow. So your fascia grew just like that tree. Just like that tree, which I have to share again. That tree right there. So that's a profound understanding to have, that we can melt our fascia so that it glides, so that it becomes not ironed out, and so that we can feed and nourish every one of our cells through the fascia. This is shown time and time again. I believe, because I'm also a historian, and I love history, especially ancient history, we are shown this through most of our older cultures. So we have, let me pull it up. Here we have the weavers, right? This is the weavers of this is I believe this is Greek, or maybe early Roman. The weavers are a central theme in almost every culture everywhere. We can find it in Japan. We can find it in the Nordic regions. We can find it in the Native American areas. The weaving. And I really believe that they knew something that we didn't. And even in the Bible, it says we are knit together in our mother's womb. And so I like to think about fascia on many levels, because it's its own thing, honestly. It's its own thing. But we can take a picture here and understand that fascia acts like water in its phases. It's either super frozen or it's starting to melt and gliding. And we can also take this as beautiful knitting together and weaving together. So we're ironing out our fabric. We're ironing out the fabric of our bodies to create vitality, not just wellness. That's a word that we are moving past. We are going into vitality. So you can think of fascia as, I love this little picture here, the orange, and here's a really another really good ending here. So you've got your orange. If I peeled that whole orange, we all know that the shape of the orange is going to stay round. That white pith can be likened to our fascia. If I took, when this orange was young or younger, if I took a big string that didn't pierce through the skin and I wrapped it around the orange, then it would have a very strange shape, right? That's how it would grow. That's what's going on in our fascia. And that's why you must understand that the fascia is your future. Fascia is my future. It is the key to our vitality. There are a lot of studies right now being done scientifically that talk about and are researching how fascia is our consciousness, not our brain center. Our fascia transmits our consciousness, and fascia moves at the speed of sound. It moves 3 times faster than our nervous system does. So when you're responding and you trip off a curb and you catch yourself, that's not nervous system, that's your fascial system bypassing your brain and understanding where to go. There's incredible modalities happening that you can find on my website. I teach this every single time I teach. I've got block therapy, which is just one of the most profound modalities I've ever come across. You can find that on my website as well. And please join me in unwinding your fascia, in melting your fascia, and coming into a place past wellness, past healing, into vitality. And I hope to see you soon.